This is Ubisoft's first take on Star Wars universe after the Star Wars Jedi game. Did they do a good job? In short, yes, but there are certain things that I personally didn't like that did not make this game truly that great. But before we jump into this video, I want to thank Ubisoft for providing me a copy of the game. I'm playing this game on PC with sort of medium to high settings and it's running really great. First things first, the music in this game is phenomenal. They definitely nailed it. No complaints needed. This is a big, living and breathing open world Star Wars game, and you can even travel to multiple planets with new open world maps and different weather and a different feel to it. You can find people of different races in the Star Wars universe just going around and living in this world. Some people are gambling, some people are just having drinks, some people are working in the shops fixing something, and then you see stormtroopers just casually walking around. What I do is I just run around right next to them so that I can annoy them.
Watch it!
I don't know why I do that. Speaking of gambling, you can actually play games in the game. My favorite is Sabak, which is a really cool card game where you can play with others. I mean, the NPCs. You can even cheat with the help of Nix to see who is holding what card. And it's a really fun game, very addicting, and I lost a lot of money in that. You can also gamble on a horse riding game to see whether your horse wins. And you can also play arcade game to set a high score with a very cool racing game, which really burned my eyes for some reason. Unlike Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which is probably a better comparison to this game, you would see a lot of the Empire and flora and fauna. But in Star Wars Outlaws, you see so many people that it feels like you are truly a part of this universe.
What? You never make new friends?
I have enough friends.
Yeah, but you don't have to pay me to hang out with you.
And there you are, Kay West, a bounty hunter of sorts similar to Han Solo in a way, with your cute pet Nix. The chemistry is off the charts and the interactions is just lovely to see, and Nix is cute all the time. There's this one interaction scene which is my favorite of the entire game. Probably the favorite thing of the entire game is where they sit together and eat. I know something as boring as eating in video games is somehow so much more fun, and Ubisoft has able to do that in this game. You have to really play this to understand what I'm talking about, because I don't want to spoil the fun, because it really is fun. Kay in general is trying to survive this world now that the Imperial is under control by finding jobs and getting paid. She wants to get rich, roam around the world, and she takes these big jobs which never go her way. And that's basically the story of Kay. That's all she does, and that's all that has been happening in the story as well. That is a little bit disappointing, which I'll talk about at the end. You can use the speeder to go around this open world, which is always so fun. Just using speeder makes sense, and you also see other vehicles around. Some other NPCs are using it, which you can also, completely collide with, and they will do nothing about it. But the biggest thing that makes this world even more lively is the 4 different factions. These are all called syndicates. They are Hutt Cartels, the Pikes, Crimson Dawn, and Ashiga clan. And there are reputations that you have to maintain with all of these syndicates. If you have a good or an excellent reputation, you can go straight into their territories without any issues and get some good jobs as well. But if you have a poor or bad reputation, then they will hunt you down if you enter one of the areas that they control, or they might even not let you in their territory at all. So you have to sneak in to do something around that area. And it's not like you are inside the territory and there's just guards. There's guards and there's also other people. So it is odd that you are sneaking around the guards and then normal people see you and they don't question it whatsoever. So in order to increase your reputation, you have to do jobs for them. Sometimes there are moments in which you have to select at that particular time on which syndicate you have to frame something on. But that happens only 2 times in the entire game so far in the main story. It never happens anywhere else than that. The only time you kind of make decision is when you have to do a job for a syndicate, but you have to go to another syndicate's territory to do something against them. It has this balancing nature that you have to keep in mind, which is really cool because, again, as I said, you'll be hunted down. And it's not fun. And then these lovely guys are still there, the stormtroopers, the Imperials. You don't do any jobs for them, which is kind of disappointing. But if you get into their territory and get caught, you will be hunted because you're in their wanted list. And if you do more crimes against them, you're high up there in the wanted list. What happens is they will chase you down very, very badly. You can keep a low profile and they can abandon the search, that way you can get away from the wanted list. But if you're too high, it's gonna be very hard to get away from them. There was one time where I killed a lot of people in their area and they started chasing me down so bad that as I was going back to what I thought was the safest place, it was actually barricaded by the stormtroopers. They were just literally standing there and I could not go past it. So I had to somehow get away from it, and then I ended up getting killed by a stormtrooper. I know. In terms of gameplay, don't expect you can just pull off a lightsaber or just use the force from out of nowhere like Rey in the Star Wars sequels.
She hasn't even been to Dagobah for training!
So all you have to do in missions mostly is stealth. And that's where Nick's come into play, because he can distract the enemies for you and you can go behind them and punch them to knock them out. Nix can be helpful for a number of things, such as fetching items, sabotaging a console, or opening doors. And of course, the AI in these games are incredibly stupid. But there was one time when one of the enemies says, must be the winds, while he was standing on 2 dead bodies that I killed. But there's more to the gameplay other than shooting and stealth as well. Things like slicing, where you can slice a console to open and do other things, such as switching off security systems or turning on a door. And you can do that by playing this Wordle type game where you have to guess which icons are the correct ones. You can also upgrade your slicing technique, which can help you guess those icons better. But if you have brains like me, then you still choose the wrong ones. Another device called Data Spike that can help you to unlock doors. And this one is very fun because you have to time the bleeping noise according to when it bleeps. I think I explained that very well. You will see how there's a bleeping sound being made based on a particular timing, and you have to match that timing in order to open the door. And that also goes on to certain containers that are locked to use the same data spike. None of these ever become challenging per se, but it's fun to have those in these games. The blaster that you use is the same as you expect. Your blaster will heat up if you use too much of it, and then you have to reload. And there's this timer thing, if you time it right, it reloads quicker. You can also upgrade your blaster to add some more variety to it, or unlock new fire types, which is also really cool. You can also pick a variety of other weapons. There's grenade launchers, assault rifles, even sniper rifles, but they don't stay with you. You drop them as you move along. Another unique thing with your blaster is having this Deadeye feature, again made popular by Red Dead Redemption 2, but it's here as well, which kind of makes sense because, well, she has a blaster, she is more like a gunslinger. And so you select your targets and shoot them off. And sometimes they don't die immediately, so you have to shoot a couple more rounds. But you can also do that when you're riding your speeder. And that's where it gets weird and janky, because you select your targets and when you shoot, you have no idea what just happened because the camera is trying to track where you're shooting, and just in a blink of an eye, your camera turns back to how you're driving. It took me quite some time to realize that she shoots the speeders in order to kill them. So that's a place where the Deadeye thing doesn't really work that way, but otherwise, it's pretty solid. Now, just like in any other open world game, there are multiple side missions. Now, all these side missions are sometimes referred to as side missions, but there's some other side missions that are referred to as key intel or expert side missions or legendary outlaws missions. There are different missions which essentially give you a lot of different things. They're all unique in their own way, but not unique enough to be memorable, if you know what I mean. Only the main missions probably are more memorable than the side missions, but there are certain side missions which helps you unlock new abilities, and those are experts. These people you find from these side missions who turn into experts which help you unlock new abilities. These abilities are very different in nature. One of them helps upgrade my speeder, while the other helps Nix to do a little bit more when he's sabotaging. So all of these experts do different things, and you have to just find them in order to get these abilities. And then you can also find even more jobs by some other vendors who just give you jobs, which is absolutely insane. Thankfully, you can also go out of space to kind of roam around in that space. Obviously, that whole going out of the planet is a full cutscene, but once you get out of there, you can actually roam around, look around what's happening. However, there's only one planet of yours. That's it in that galaxy. You might see a moon or two, but other than that, there's nothing there. Like, there's no other planets, which is kind of odd. But you do find some other locations that you can go to and check out. You have these undiscovered locations, and some of them look pretty fine, but some of them are really cool, as you can go to different galaxies using hyperdrive. One of them have like this asteroid belt, and the other has this really foggy, icy kind of structures built around it. It looks so damn cool. And in all those areas, you can loot more items and fight other jets or ships. And if you thought that you can only upgrade your speeder, but you can also upgrade your trailblazer, you can unlock new turrets and unlock new fire modes.
Vale, right? If this is about leadership or the rebels, it's just a big, big misunderstanding. I don't care.
Speaking of something that I didn't like was the story more so. The story never had that impact. Even though I have played 60% of the game, it still hasn't given me that impactful nature of how a story usually goes to keep me more focused on the story. There is one cool moment where you're surrounded by these stormtroopers, like these ships are dropping in and you have nowhere else to go. That was a cool moment and that was a memorable one, but just don't remember anything else. Because the story is as simple as it is. Kay is just trying to survive, trying to earn money by doing jobs, and there's a target on her back. But that target on her back never really plays out that much. It's slowly playing off one by one, but nothing big has happened yet to make me realize, oh, she is in big trouble. Now I know not every story requires the emotionally wrecking ball kind of moments, but it requires something so that I can get back into the story. Because for now, at the moment, I'm just doing these objectives. It's just really cool to do, but the overall story, the villain, is looking very weak right now. And as I said, you meet some of these characters later on in the game, and you're sort of building these relationships. You can see that character is forming some kind of bond with you. I absolutely recommend this game to anyone who is a Star Wars fan, because if you are one of those guys, then you will immediately appreciate the world that you're living in this game. Even those who are not Star Wars fan, I think they'll still enjoy this game because of the fact that there's factions that you need to handle with the reputation system, and there's fun gameplay and some really fun side missions. However, all these side quests are not that memorable. There are one or two that might be more memorable than the others, and the main story also served the same issue. There's no such impact in the story that really drives this game forward, something that was in Jedi Survivor. There are certain characters that are more memorable than the others, and obviously Nix and Kay are amazing together. But other than that, nothing significant, and that stopped this game from being truly great. I'll be finishing this game over on Twitch, so you're more than welcome to follow, and maybe I'll be talking to the actors from this very game, Star Wars Outlaws, over Behind the Voice podcast. So subscribe to this channel to watch that episode, and not only subscribe, but also hit the notification bell icon so you don't miss any other episode or video.